Playing Dungeons & Dragons with a group is an adventure, but not always the kind you signed up for. From the eternal struggle of finding a day everyone is free, to the chaos of balancing combat, storytelling, and snacks, being in a D&D group is an adventure all on its own. Since Dungeons & Dragons is a social experience, conflicts between players can arise. We're only human after all. So, as your trusty Dungeons & Dragons VTuber guide, let's dive right into the issues you may face when playing D&D. Communication. Most issues at the table can be addressed by openly communicating with whomever is causing the problem. They may not realize that their actions are disruptive, so a direct yet respectful conversation can often resolve things. Your DM should set the table rules, expectations, and table manner behaviors during your session 0 with everyone present. It's important to make it clear that poor or demeaning behaviors will not be tolerated and boundaries should be set. While it's not easy to do, having those boundaries set will make it easier to follow up on them in the case that something disrespectful occurs. If a situation does occur, then it's best if you were to host a conversation privately. Also, know that sometimes people don't like their behavior to be called out, and it may lead to them trying to cause bigger issues. If you feel someone at your table is disrespectful and does not respond well to your attempt at open communication of informing them of their behavior and the effects that it's had, then perhaps it should be considered whether they should continue to be at the table or not. While it doesn't feel good to make such a statement, it's important to keep your boundaries firm even in the event of a pushback. Your mental health and well-being is important, and D&D should be a safe space for everyone present. Once you gather interested members, scheduling becomes your next hurdle to conquer. Many groups find weekly or bi-weekly a 4 to 6 hour session works well, but flexibility is key. Choose a time when most players can consistently attend while acknowledging that real-life conflicts will arise. Planning for this ahead of time prevents frustration. Work with your group to decide on a system if a player is away. You can skip the session, character is absent. Autopilot, the character remains in the party but doesn't actively contribute to combat or roleplay. Co-pilot, another player temporarily controls the absent player's character. Or DM control, the DM takes over the character's actions based on agreed upon guidelines. Also determine how experience points should be awarded for missing sessions. No XP. Frequent absences lead to lower character levels which can create challenges. Or partial XP. Awarding half XP can balance occasional absences while still encouraging attendance, and full XP. Players won't skip sessions just for XP, but this keeps progression even, which leads us to our next issue. Introducing new characters. Adding new characters can be necessary due to player changes, character deaths, or personal preference. Here are ways to seamlessly integrate them into the story. Ignore it. The new character simply appears and the party never acknowledges it. Lampshade hanging. The weirdness is acknowledged once and then ignored. I know a guy. An existing character introduces the newcomer. Or promote an NPC. A familiar non-player character joins the party as a playable character. The new player can generate their stat. DM burnout. Dungeon master fatigue is a common issue. Being a DM is demanding and it can become overwhelming. There's also the term forever DM, where the person in a D&D group or any tabletop RPG always ends up becoming the DM, and rarely, if ever, get to play as a regular character. Some causes of DM fatigue are the DM playing for too long without a break, losing control of game dynamics, challenging players making the experience frustrating, limited time to dedicate to preparation, and loss of interest in the current campaign. So, what are your solutions? You can switch DMs. If the DM needs a break, someone else can step in. Playing instead of DMing can be incredibly refreshing. You can change campaigns. If the DM no longer enjoys the story, pivot to a new campaign with fresh enthusiasm. And address social issues. If a player is adding stress, discuss the concerns and find solutions to improve group dynamic. DMing is tough enough without unnecessary friction. My character died, now what? If your DM killed your character, take a moment to discuss the situation with them and the group. If your game doesn't already have clear expectations for handling character deaths, you may be able to negotiate a fair approach. While losing a character can be frustrating and incredibly sad, it's rarely a reason to quit the game altogether. When everyone is on the same page regarding in-game morality, conflicts are less likely to arise. Death in tabletop RPGs is a delicate subject. Different groups handle it in various ways. Have an open conversation with your fellow players about how death should be managed, ensuring everyone is comfortable with the approach. Managing oversized parties. Sometimes a group forms with more players than can easily be managed. A party of 5 players plus a DM is typically fine, but 6 or more can quickly become chaotic with overlapping voices and disrupted gameplay. If your group reaches 8 people, including the DM, consider splitting into 2 separate games. You can either run both campaigns yourself or see if another player is willing to take the DM role. Alternatively, an episodic campaign structure might also work. In this format, each session features a rotating cast of characters with adventures beginning and ending within a single session. This setup is great for large groups with inconsistent attendance and allows frequent DM rotation, ensuring the game continues even if the primary DM is unavailable. When using this approach, Be sure to establish clear rules for experience points and loot distribution so that no one falls behind due to occasional absences. Streamline your combat. Combat pacing has always been a challenge in Dungeons & Dragons, and it tends to slow even further as characters level up and gain more abilities. One major factor is analysis paralysis, where players become overwhelmed by too many choices and struggle to make a decision. While familiarity with the game can reduce this effect, higher-level characters gain more abilities, which can reignite the problem. A more experienced player may only see improvements when they start fresh with a lower-level character. Here are your strategies to speed up your combat. You could consider using a timer. Setting a time limit for turns can encourage faster decision-making, but it may worsen analysis paralysis for hesitant players. Plan actions ahead. Encourage players to anticipate their actions before their turn arrives. This helps keep the game moving, though newer players may struggle if they are unfamiliar with evolving battle dynamics. Limit side conversations. Reducing off-turn chatter can keep players focused and prevent unnecessary delays. However, this may limit valuable strategy discussions and the fun banter that makes the game engaging. Reduce your monster count. Avoid packing encounters with excessive enemies. While some of our foes may look cinematic, resolving multiple turns slows the game significantly. These adjustments can make encounters more fluid while keeping the gameplay enjoyable. If your group struggles with slow combat, experimenting with these methods may help strike a great balance. What issues have you faced at your game table, and how were they solved? Subscribe for more tips and tricks to build your enjoyment in Dungeons & Dragons. Until next time, adventurers!